the reason why we shouldn't discard the idea of enlightenment, or even the thought of enlightenment, is because all our actions are rooted in deep-seated desires. Everything we do in this life, everything we do in this world, is a projection that comes from deep within. Everything that we want to achieve in this life, everything that we want to experience in this life, everything that we want to have in terms of objects, all relationships that we want to experience, all this basically what we call life, from the capital L, is the result of deep-seated desires with which our heart is filled up to a brim. So basically, the idea of enlightenment is one of the most refined desires of all. It's one of the most beautiful concepts. So to discard it, we are in danger of discarding the baby with the water. Because if we discard that idea of attaining what is already there, basically, but attaining it not as an idea, not as a notion, not as a concept, but attaining it as our true self, being in the possession of our true self, we would have to cultivate that desire. We would have to make that desire primarily to all other desires. It has to be the desire number one. All other desires have to follow. All other desires have to be subordinate to that one. It's very subtle and very profound. If we throw that idea of enlightenment to the background, then what we do basically, we proclaim that we are already self-realized beings, and replace all the desires that are there anyway with the desires of this world. Physical desires, psychological desires, emotional desires, all these desires with which we project our reality with, and what actually acts as a motivating force behind all our actions. This is why I'd say that, we have to be very careful with what is happening now. We have to be very discriminate to what teachings we actually accepting today as progressive teaching, because in my view, the teaching that self-realization is already there and enlightenment is some kind of a bogus, and an idea that has to be abandoned altogether, has very far-reaching repercussions, and those far-reaching repercussions might backfire, because the being who has been already cultivating that very subtle essence in the heart and the mind of attaining something which is essentially his own self, suddenly abandons that idea. All that energy that has been building up, all that prana that has been swelling inside, preparing for that grand opening, awakening, is going to deflate. Okay, it might give one a certain ease of the situation. It may give one a certain sensation that, what a relief actually not to seek anything. And that is true. That is absolutely true. There is a certain amount of relaxation and certain amount of taking away the pressure. But the pressure comes primarily from not understanding fully how does the enlightenment fits into our life, how does it actually fits what enlightenment is. It actually has to be switched from upside down on its feet. We need to understand that enlightenment is not something that comes to us as an understanding, as an idea that we are already that. Enlightenment, in fact, is an evolutionary process of every being. Enlightenment is that crowning event, is the ripening Just as the seed passes all the stages from swelling in the ground, and growing, budding into the sprout, growing into a beautiful tree, and eventually going through all these processes of leafing, flowers, flower formation, and what have you, until it culminates as a fruit. Enlightenment is absolutely the same. Enlightenment, in essence, is the fruit of our existence. So when the time is right, when we are ripe, enlightenment will come. It will come on its own accord. How it will come? It may come as a result of your practice and your own efforts. It may come as some kind of spontaneous revelation on all levels that will just burst your own being into the, it will trampoline you into the psychophysiological transformation, which can be ushered by anything, from intense study of the scriptures to some kind of psychological shock. But what I'm trying to say here is that enlightenment is there, but it is there in a latent form. It is always there, just as the flower is already present in the seed, just as the tree is present in the seed, and just as the fruit is present in the seed. But it cannot be fortified in terms of, I'm already the fruit, I'm already ripened, I'm sweet, Come on, God, just taste me on your, just like I'm ready to be offered. I am worthy of the offering. That is what we're trying to tackle here. That's what we're trying to address here.